Chapter 11:16. What extravagant spending! Lu Ming exclaimed. Although the spirit wine and pills were not of a high level, there were too many of them. With such a terrifying amount added together, the value was enormous. The Xie family of the imperial family had put in a lot of effort for this sacrificial ceremony. Obviously, the imperial family had been preparing for a long time. Otherwise, they would not have taken out such a large amount of spirit wine and pills. In the air, the people from the major factions watched with faint smiles. Not long after, the pills in the gourds were emptied. The burly men and women carried the cauldron and the gourds and flew back to the imperial palace. Then, young girls flew out of the imperial palace with all kinds of delicacies and wine, placing them in front of the people from the major factions in the air. Ha ha ha, today is the million-year anniversary of the sacred dynasty's establishment. Thank you all for coming here and spending this day with me. Come, let me offer you a toast. Xie Qitian raised his wine cup and drank with the major factions. Then, Xie Qitian continued, I believe everyone has heard that I intend to choose a young talent as my husband for my daughter, Nian Lin. Today, all the talents from all the factions in the divine region and the 5 major dominions are here. We will have a competition. Regardless of gender, everyone can participate. The person who wins first place will be Nian Lin's husband. Of course, if a woman wins first place, her husband will be pushed back by 1 rank. At the same time, I promise that I will agree to 1 condition of the 2nd and 3rd place. As long as it is within my power, I will allow you to enter the Sacred Emperor Ancient Palace to cultivate. The 4th to 10th place can also enter the Sacred Emperor Ancient Palace. It's here. When Xie Qitian said that, many people's eyes lit up. It was finally time for the most anticipated segment of the day. Xie Qitian's conditions were too tempting. Not many people could resist. Today, all the geniuses of the divine region were gathered. There would definitely be an exciting battle. Back then, the War of Providence had taken place in the ancient city of Providence. Not many people had seen it and not many knew how exciting it was. But today, they could see it. Moreover, it wasn't just the Middle Continent's heaven's prides today. The South Underworld, West Desert, North Plains, and East Barren Territories' heaven's prides had all gathered. Most importantly, numerous top geniuses had stepped into the domain enlightened spirit god realm in succession, and they were about to carry out the strongest battles in the domain enlightened spirit god realm. This was undoubtedly something that everyone looked forward to even more. Many young heaven's favorites in particular were rubbing their fists and rubbing their palms, ready to show off their skills. Brother Xie, how should we compete? The Yin-Yang Emperor of Yin-Yang Palace asked. There are too many geniuses here today. It's impossible to compete with them one by one. Firstly, you have to be below the age of 30. Then, you have to go through a round of selection. Only those who pass the selection can enter the official competition, Xie Qitian said. Then, he waved his hand, and from the south of the platform, paths condensed by rainbow-colored lights appeared. There were a total of 18 paths, spreading out in the shape of a fan that was 100 miles long. There were tables and chairs on both the east and west sides of the platform, and they were all filled with people. Only the south side was empty. Xie Qitian must have had a plan. The selection process is very simple. Everyone has to go through this path. Those who pass will be considered to have passed. Xie Qitian said. Those who pass through this path will be considered to have passed. Many people's hearts trembled as they looked at the 18 paths with a slightly solemn expression. Since it was a selection process, it was definitely not that simple. There would definitely be obstacles on the path. Those who want to participate, enter through that door. Xie Qitian waved his hand, and a huge door appeared at the end of the 18 paths. On the side of the imperial family, experts flew towards the door and stood guard on both sides of the door. Only those who passed through the door could participate in the selection process. Let's go. I'm going. Immediately, many young figures flew out from the great forces. There were also young figures flying out from the holy city, flying towards the door. Haha, I'm going. Lu Ming smiled at Tai Xing and the others. You're going too? Commander, the Sacred Emperor said that only those below the age of 30 can participate. How old are you? Tai Xing and the others looked at Lu Ming suspiciously. Lu Ming had a full beard now. No matter how one looked at him, he didn't look like he was below the age of 30. He was at least close to 40 years old. Moreover, martial artists aged very slowly. Lu Ming's actual age might be a few hundred years old. Lu Ming actually wanted to participate. If he was caught trying to make up the numbers, he would have to bear the consequences. Hey, what's with your expressions? I'm not even 30 years old, alright? Lu Ming looked at Tai Xing and the others in disdain before striding towards the door. Not even 30 years old? Tai Xing and the rest of the enforcers stared with their eyes wide open. Their jaws were almost dislocated. It was simply unbelievable. Lu Ming swaggered to the door. At this moment, there was already a long queue at the door. Lu Ming lined up at the back. Who is that? That bearded man, why is he lining up at such an old age? Isn't that the awesome commander? What is he doing? Didn't he hear the sacred emperor say that only those below the age of 30 can participate? This weird commander is really audacious. Watch carefully. He will definitely be chased away later. Some people noticed Lu Ming and started to discuss among themselves. Lu Ming couldn't be bothered with the surrounding gazes and lined up leisurely. Soon, it was Lu Ming's turn. Hold it. What are you doing here? Leave quickly. A burly man guarding the door stopped Lu Ming. What am I doing? I'm here to participate in the competition. Lu Ming glared. Competition? The sacred emperor has ordered that those above the age of 30 are not allowed to participate. How old are you? How dare you ignore the sacred emperor's order? You're courting death. The burly man bellowed with an imposing manner. Haha, this weird commander is finished. He dares to ignore the sacred emperor's order. The commotion here naturally attracted the attention of everyone present. Nonsense. Which eye of yours saw that I'm over 30? Let me tell you, I'm not 30 yet. I'm just a little older. Don't judge a book by its cover, Lu Ming said casually. This made many people stunned and then burst into laughter. Lu Ming didn't look like he was under 30. He was definitely over 30. This guy was clearly trying to sneak in. Many people thought so. You, get out of the way, don't block the way. A cold shout came from behind Lu Ming. It was a woman's voice. It sounded very pleasant, but very cold and arrogant. Lu Ming turned his head and saw a beautiful woman. She was tall and beautiful. She was not inferior to Sandalwood Fairy, Jing Kongling, and the others. That's Liu Yusin, one of the 5 great beauties of Zhengzhou State. Some people discussed and looked at Liu Yusin excitedly. So it's Liu Yusin, one of the 5 great beauties of Zhengzhou State. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat and he couldn't help but take a few more glances. Chapter 11:17. There were 3 or 4 young men surrounding Liu Yusin. They were clearly Liu Yusin's escorts. Standing in the middle of the 3 escorts, Liu Yusin was like the moon surrounded by stars. She was extremely cold and arrogant. She glanced at Lu Ming nonchalantly. There was slight disdain in her eyes. She was like a proud white swan. Big beard, what are you looking at? Is Yusin for you to look at? Why don't you take a piss and look at your reflection? You're already so old, yet you still want to join the competition. Do you want to marry Princess Nian Lin? You're really out of your league. Get lost. Beside Liu Yusin, a few young men berated him one after another. These people obviously came to the sacred city later and didn't know about Lu Ming's achievements. Where did these wild dogs come from? Don't you know the rules? I'm here first. I haven't entered yet. Line up for me. Do you understand? Lu Ming cast a nonchalant glance at the few of them, his eyes full of contempt. You. What did you say? You're courting death. Trash. The young men's faces were ugly as they berated. If it weren't for the fact that they couldn't fight here, they would have killed Lu Ming. Liu Yusin's face was also ugly and gloomy. Obviously, Lu Ming's words had included her. This trash doesn't respect the sacred emperor's order. He's obviously over the age limit, yet he wants to sneak in. I suggest that we kill him immediately as a warning to others. A young man in a red robe was the loudest. What if I'm not over the age limit? Lu Ming glanced at him. If you're not over 30 years old, I'll kneel down and eat dirt immediately, the young man in a red robe shouted. He looked at Lu Ming carefully and was even more certain that Lu Ming's age couldn't be below 30 years old. Okay, I want to test my bone age, Lu Ming shouted, and his voice spread far and wide. Approved. Let him take the test. A majestic voice was heard. It was Xie Qitian's voice. Naturally, the rulers had witnessed everything that had happened here. Yes. Beside Xie Qitian, an old man flew out. With a wave of his hand, a mirror appeared. This is the bone testing mirror. It can test your bone age, the old man explained. Then, a beam of light shot out from the bone measuring mirror and enveloped Lu Ming. At this moment, almost all eyes were on Lu Ming. Could it be that Lu Ming was really under 30 years old? That's impossible. He looks like he's almost 40 years old. His actual age must be even older. Wang. At this moment, the bone testing mirror shook. Then, 25 wheels appeared, shining with golden light and filling the air. This was the bone wheel. Each wheel represented 1 year. On the bone measuring mirror, there were 25 wheels, which meant that Lu Ming was only 25 years old. Moreover, the 25th wheel was not very bright, which meant that Lu Ming was still a little short of 25 years old. The scene suddenly quieted down. Everyone stared at Lu Ming with their jaws almost dropped to the ground. Oh my god, he's not even 25 years old. This awesome commander is not even 25 years old. How is that possible? He looks like he's almost 40 years old. He's growing too fast. What an eyesore. If he's not even 25 years old, doesn't that mean he belongs to the younger generation? He suppressed Wu Kang before. There was an uproar at the scene. However, when the last sentence was said, the scene suddenly became quiet again. Yes, if he's not even 25 years old, he belongs to the younger generation. Most importantly, he suppressed Wu Kang. If Lu Ming was really in his 30s or 40s, or even older, and suppressed Wu Kang, it wouldn't be a big deal. After all, he had been cultivating for many years. However, Lu Ming was only in his 20s, which was younger than Wu Kang. This meant something different. It meant that this awesome commander was a rare supreme talent who was stronger than Wu Kang. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. This awesome commander was too awesome. It really exceeded everyone's expectations. It wasn't that no one had thought that Lu Ming was someone else in disguise. However, if he wanted to enter the law enforcement army, he would have to go through a background check. If he could disguise his appearance, could he also change his aura? Damn this guy. Wu Kang naturally saw this scene from inside the gate. He immediately gritted his teeth and wanted to bite Lu Ming. Some people from the Sky Martial Sword sect had ugly expressions. They had suffered a great loss because of this commander. The eyes of some emperors flickered as they sized Lu Ming up curiously. Oh my god, commander, he's only 25 years old. Tai Xing and the rest were completely stunned. If it wasn't for the bone measuring mirror that measured Lu Ming's bone age, they would still find it hard to believe. Behind Lu Ming, Liu Yusin and the other young men's eyes almost popped out. The red-robed young man almost bit his tongue off. Can I enter now? Lu Ming looked at the burly man guarding the gate. Yes. Yes, haha. The burly man laughed awkwardly. And you, what did you say just now? If I'm below 30 years old, you will kneel down and eat dirt. Let's begin now. Lu Ming looked at the red-robed young man and said coldly. This. That. I was just saying it casually. I was just saying it casually. The red-robed young man's face flushed red and he was extremely embarrassed. Bullshit. Lu Ming roared and stared at the red-robed young man furiously. Even his beard stood up. A powerful aura burst out and shrouded the red-robed young man. He berated, "Where do you think you are? All the sovereigns are here and the Saint Emperors are seated. How dare you speak casually in front of the Saint Emperors? Who do you think the sovereigns are? Do you think they are the targets of your jokes? I think you are courting death." Lu Ming's every word was like a giant hammer that hammered the red-robed young man's heart. His face turned pale and there was no trace of blood. "No, I didn't. You are spouting nonsense. I didn't disrespect the sovereigns. The red-robed young man shook his head repeatedly with cold sweat dripping down his face. You're still denying it. Then why don't you do as you say? If you don't do it, I'll teach you. Lu Ming roared and moved his body. He suddenly appeared in front of the red-robed young man and pressed his hand down on the red-robed young man's shoulder. This red-robed young man was a third-class prodigy with a perfected spirit embryo cultivation. He was worlds apart from Lu Ming and had no power to resist at all. Lu Ming pressed him down and they fell to the ground. Bang! After landing on the ground, the red-robed young man immediately knelt down. Next, Lu Ming pressed his head down to the ground. With a bang, the red-robed young man's face smashed into the ground and smashed the ground, causing him to eat a mouthful of dirt. Gulp! Many people in the surroundings swallowed their saliva and stared at Lu Ming with their eyes wide open. This awesome commander was too tyrannical. He really did what he said and made the red-robed young man eat dirt. Impudent! On the west side of the platform, an elder from a large force slammed the table and shouted angrily. This force was Coldblood Hall, and the red-robed young man was a prodigy from Coldblood Hall. Many people from Coldblood Hall glared fiercely at Lu Ming. Calm down. Chapter 11:18. Just now, it was indeed the red-robed youth who said that if Lu Ming was below 30 years old, he would have to kneel down and eat dirt. Everyone, including the sovereigns, had heard it. Lu Ming directly used the sovereigns to suppress the red-robed youth before attacking. Coldblood Hall could not stand up for the red-robed youth. Interesting. Interesting indeed. He's very bold. Some of the sovereigns around the platform said faintly as they looked at Lu Ming with great interest. What a good appetite. It's the first time I've seen someone who likes to eat dirt instead of delicacies, Lu Ming muttered as he stepped into the air again and came to the gate. Those from Coldblood Hall were so angry that they almost vomited blood. Liu Yusin gritted her teeth and glared at Lu Ming with an ugly expression. On the other hand, the few young men beside Liu Yusin looked at Lu Ming with fear. They were shocked that the red-robed youth could not fight back against Lu Ming. Girl, why are you glaring at me? Be careful or I'll spank you. Lu Ming glanced at Liu Yusin's perky butt, then laughed and walked through the gate. Liu Yusin's eyes were red. She swore to herself that if she had the chance, she would make Lu Ming regret it. Lu Ming walked through the gate and came to the front of the 18 paths. Some of the geniuses looked at Lu Ming curiously. They were all very curious. When did such a genius appear? Slowly, more and more people came to the front of the 18 paths. In the end, there were no less than 500 people, all of whom were top geniuses. Okay, let's begin. Remember, if you fly out or land on this path, you'll fail. Xie Qitian's voice rang out. Whoosh, whoosh. Immediately, someone rushed up. There was one person on each path. When they rushed onto the path condensed by the rainbow light, a figure appeared on the path and attacked the geniuses on the path at the same time. As the palm print blasted out, the 18 youths on the 18 paths roared and were sent flying out of the range of the rainbow light path. Failure. In an instant, all 18 youths were defeated. That's the strength of a spiritual god. It's actually the strength of a spiritual god. There are spiritual deities blocking the way. How are we going to charge through? This is too difficult. Many people's expressions changed greatly, becoming very ugly. Along the way, there were actually spirit gods obstructing them. How could those youths in the spirit embryo realm possibly charge through? Looks like a lot of people will be eliminated during the screening phase. That's indeed the case. With a spiritual deity blocking the way, how many people can charge through? That's normal. The Saint Emperor also said that only the top 10 can enter the Saint Emperor's ancient palace. So what if those spirit embryo realm geniuses manage to enter? You're just here to make up the numbers. You might as well get eliminated earlier. Around them, many people were discussing animatedly. On each of the rainbow paths, there was a figure standing with their hands behind their backs. Although they were not real, there was still a powerful aura spreading out. As long as I charge over, I might still stand a chance. Some people's eyes flickered as they began to calculate. Whoosh, whoosh. Then, another 18 people rushed up. Boom. boom. The 18 of them struck out with their palms at the same time. Their palms were like raging waves, unceasing and unending. Among them, 17 of them were directly sent flying by the palms and were eliminated. However, there was one person who was a third-class genius. Moreover, he was a powerful figure among the third-class geniuses. His cultivation was infinitely close to the spiritual deity level. He took the palm head-on, but he was not sent flying. Instead, he seized the opportunity, aimed for an opening, and executed an extremely powerful movement technique to charge through. He charged through that figure's obstruction. "Haha, I've made it. I've succeeded." The young man was ecstatic as he rushed forward. However, before he could rejoice, another 3 figures condensed in front of him. Each of the 3 figures was at the first level of the spirit god realm. 3 powerful palms surged toward the young man. "You can't play like this," the young man shouted as he was sent flying by the powerful palms. 3 spiritual deities, 3 spiritual deities. How are we going to pass? Many people sighed. It was already difficult to pass one, but now, there were 3 on the road ahead. How was it possible to pass? It's almost impossible to pass if you're not a spiritual deity. Someone shook his head. However, there were still people who did not give up and wanted to give it a try. The facts proved that every road was the same. There was only 1 first-level spirit god at the beginning, and 3 first-level spirit gods at the end. Of course, the strength of these figures was considered ordinary among the first-level spirit gods. Many people failed. Lu Ming saw Shui Jianyi and Shi Zhong of the Heavenly Corpse sect, Dongfang Yu of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace, Ao2 of the Sky Demon Valley, Feng Xian, and the others fail one after another. Although their talent was considered top-notch in the Eastern Wilderness, it was very ordinary in the vast Divine Wilderness continent. None of the first few batches succeeded. Until the 6th batch, a second-class genius made a move. This person was an old acquaintance of Lu Ming, Sanguinarum. Sanguinarum directly sent the first spiritual deity flying with a move and rushed past. Then, he faced 3 spiritual deities, but it did not cause much trouble for Sanguinarum. Sanguinarum struck out 3 times in succession and repelled the 3 figures before he rushed past. What was shocking was that before Sanguinarum reached the end, more figures condensed on the road. This time, a total of 9 figures appeared. 9 experts at the first layer of the spirit god realm. Boom, boom, boom. The 9 figures struck out a palm at the same time. The 9 palms connected, and the palm force was like a landslide. Sanguinarum's face turned serious. A bloody light flashed and condensed into a blood-red battle saber. He slashed out continuously and broke the 9 palms one by one. However, the 9 figures struck out again after the first palm strike. 9 consecutive palm strikes converged and erupted with terrifying power. The 9 figures seemed to be of one mind, and their cooperation was flawless. A sharp cry resounded. Sanguinarum directly executed bloodline fusion and transformed into a bloodwing bat. He emitted a terrifying sound wave that broke through the palm force, and then his wings were like blades that slashed out and slashed one of the figures into 2. He forcefully charged through the gap and flew forward swiftly. After he charged past the 9 figures, there were no more obstructions behind him, and his path was unobstructed. Sanguinarum became the first person to charge onto the platform. Even then, it still caused many people to have dejected expressions. The difficulty of this was too great. The joint forces of 9 first-level spirit gods were too formidable. Besides those who had broken through to the spirit god realm, who else below the spirit god realm could charge through? But now, besides second-class geniuses, no one in the younger generation had broken through to the spirit god realm. Alas, forget it. It's impossible for me to have any hope. The gap is too great. Someone shook his head and sighed with the intention of giving up. There's indeed no need. There's no hope at all. There's no need to embarrass yourself. That's right. Let's just be a spectator this time. Many people spoke and gave up successively. What a waste of time. At this moment, a cold grunt resounded as a young man stepped forward. Chapter 11:19. Nan Ming, Underworld Child. Someone whispered as they looked at him with fear. Underworld Child was rumored to be on par with the 5 giants of the central continent. However, he had never fought with any of the 5 giants before, so many people were suspicious of him. The 5 giants of the central continent were all outstanding geniuses. Not everyone could reach that level. Who would believe it without seeing it with their own eyes? Boom! Suddenly, Underworld Child's aura skyrocketed as a terrifying pressure filled the air. Then whoosh! Underworld Child turned into a ray of light as he charged forward without stopping. His speed was terrifyingly fast. In the first stage, Underworld Child rushed past the figure who had just sent out a palm strike. Underworld Child's body exploded and did not obstruct Underworld Child at all. In the second stage, 3 figures attacked at the same time, but the result was the same as the previous figure. Underworld Child rushed past the 3 figures and caused them to explode. Underworld Child's speed was not affected at all. It was as if the 3 spiritual gods were air. Underworld Child's figure was like a ray of light. In the third stage, 9 figures could not obstruct Underworld Child at all. All 9 figures exploded as well. Whoosh! Underworld Child's figure appeared on the platform. Hiss! Gasps could be heard at the scene. Underworld Child was too powerful and terrifying. Ordinary first-level spiritual gods were nothing in front of him. In the eyes of many people, Underworld Child had just turned into a ray of black light and arrived on the other side in a flash. The time he used was shockingly short. Too terrifying. His strength is far beyond ordinary second-level prodigies. He has definitely reached the level of the 5 giants. Not bad. This is going to be interesting. The geniuses of the other domains will clash with the 5 giants. It will definitely be exciting. Underworld Child's strength shocked everyone. Haha, then I'll go too. A young man in a golden robe stepped out with a loud laugh. This person was golden in color. He had golden hair, golden clothes, and golden boots. His body emitted rays of golden light as if he was a small golden sun. Lion Metropolis, one of the 5 giant. Someone recognized this young man. Lion Do was from the Lion Tiger Hall, an overlord force. It was said that he was a golden lion with 90% of the bloodline of the divine beast Sun Lion. He was extremely powerful. 90% of his bloodline had almost become a pure sun god lion. However, there were almost no innate pure-blooded divine beasts in the divine wilderness continent. Those demon emperors had all transformed into pure-blooded divine beasts when they broke through to become emperors. However, this was an acquired cultivation success. There was still a huge gap between them and innate pure-blooded divine beasts. Lion Capital, let's go together. As soon as Lion Do stepped out, another young man wearing a 5-colored feather robe also stepped out. Everyone was shocked as they recognized this young man. Kong Lin was a supreme genius of the Wanyao Mountain, an overlord force. It was said that he had 90% of the bloodline of the divine beast 5 elements peacock and was exceptionally powerful. Similarly, they were 2 of the 5 magnates of Zhengzhou State. Among the 5 magnates of Zhengzhou State, 3 were from the human clan and 2 were from the demon clan. Kong Lin. Shadow looked at Kong Lin and grinned. The 2 of them looked at each other and moved almost at the same time. A ray of 5-colored light and a ray of golden light respectively rushed towards a different path. Whoosh! Whoosh! Almost without stopping, the light flashed past. Just like Underworld Child, the spiritual deities blocking their path were directly blasted apart. They did not stop them at all. In an instant, the 2 of them had already appeared on the opposite platform. The 5 magnates are really powerful. Many people sighed. This was the strength of the 5 magnates. Compared to them, ordinary geniuses were too far away. Even many second-class geniuses felt powerless. My hair, this poor monk is coming. A Buddhist chant that Lu Ming was very familiar with sounded. A monk with a baby face and a smile stepped out. This unscrupulous monk. Lu Ming curled his lips. Amitabha. A crisp Buddhist chant sounded. A petite figure stepped forward and came to a path next to the unscrupulous monk. A female bodhisattva. What a beautiful female bodhisattva. Many people's eyes lit up. It was actually a nun. She was petite and wore a snow-white kasaya that was spotless. Her body was filled with holy Buddhist light, like a female bodhisattva who walked out of a painting. She was very beautiful. Even if she did not have 100,000 strands of hair, she was still peerless and holy. One could not bear to look away after taking a glance at her. What a pity! Such a peerless beauty who is not inferior to the 5 beauties is actually a female bodhisattva. Sigh. Many people sighed and felt that it was a pity. He, the 2 bald donkeys of the western desert are going to fight. Let me accompany you. With a sneer, a young man in a black robe with black flames all over his body stepped out and appeared on another path. Someone recognized that this person was a genius of the southern underworld. Bam! Bam! On the other side, 2 tall figures stepped out at the same time, attracting everyone's attention. They were young Potian and Tuoba Shur of the northern plains. Haha, it's really lively. I'll go then. The unscrupulous monk smiled. His body was filled with Buddhist light, and with a flash of light, he rushed forward. At the same time, the others also moved. They turned into rays of light and rushed forward. On the way, the figures of the spirit gods were useless. The next moment, on the opposite platform, young Potian, Tuoba Shur, the unscrupulous monk, the female bodhisattva, and the young man covered in black flames arrived almost at the same time. Almost everyone was stunned. How is this possible? There are so many prodigies of the 5 magnates. Many people gasped and stammered. It was unbelievable. Young Potian had long been one of the 5 magnates of the Middle Continent. This was not surprising. As for Tuoba Shur, he had fought with young Potian a few times and was already famous in the Middle Continent. As for the unscrupulous monk, his performance in the Sacred Mansion's secret realm of the World Academy had also spread. Everyone also treated him as one of the 5 magnates. Those 3 people were not surprising. However, the female bodhisattva and the young man covered in black flames were also terrifying. It was too shocking. Don't tell me those 2 are also as strong as the 5 magnates. How can they compete? The top 10 spots are almost all taken up. Many people sighed. First, it was the Nether Child, followed by Lion Do and Kong Lin. Now, there were 8 unfathomable existences like them in total. There were not many spots left. Next, many second-class prodigies began to step forward. Now, almost all the second-class prodigies had stepped into the spirit god realm, so such a test was naturally not difficult for them. Those second-class prodigies stepped forward one by one. Lu Ming saw Sandalwood Fairy, Jing Kongling, Kong Xin, Jun Yu, Di Shen, and others. There were also some that Lu Ming did not recognize. This time, most of the prodigies of the divine wilderness continent had come. Chapter 11:20. At this moment, a young man with an ordinary appearance stepped forward. This young man was really very ordinary. His appearance was ordinary, and his figure was ordinary as well. He had a medium build, and his face was very calm. He didn't have any overbearing arrogance, nor did he have the noble and domineering aura of a king. He was just like an ordinary young man. However, when this young man walked out, he attracted the attention of everyone. Even the Monarch Realm experts looked over. Because this young man was Long Chen. Long Chen was a name that everyone in the central continent knew. Because he was the well-deserved overlord of the younger generation of the central continent. He was invincible and could sweep through all his opponents. All along the way, he had never tasted defeat among those of the same generation. During the Battle of Karmic Luck, he'd stepped into the domain enlightened spirit god realm, and he was far ahead of the other 4 great figures. He was reputed to be a rare genius of the central continent in 100,000 years. No one spoke. Everyone's gazes descended onto Long Chen. They wanted to see how he would perform. Bang! Long Chen moved and took a step forward. That's right, it was just an ordinary step. Then, he took another step. Just like that, he took 1 step at a time, neither hurried nor slow, and walked forward step by step. He traversed several kilometers with a single step. His speed wasn't fast. Not to mention being unable to compare to young Potian and the others, he couldn't even compare to second-grade prodigies. He took a few steps and arrived before the first figure. That figure slapped out with his palm. Long Chen swung his palm as well. Bang! That figure exploded into pieces. After that, Long Chen continued forward. In next to no time, he arrived before the 3 figures in the second stage. He swung his palm again, and the 3 figures exploded into pieces. After that, he continued forward and arrived before the third stage. He swung his palm again, and another 9 figures exploded at the same time. He seemed to be very relaxed and carefree. After that, he stepped onto the platform again. His speed wasn't fast, but the speed at which he passed the stage was very fast. Those figures couldn't obstruct him at all. So, in general, he surpassed most second-grade prodigies. This person is unfathomable. Lu Ming stared at Long Chen and noticed that he couldn't see through Long Chen at all. I'll go as well. Lu Ming smiled and stepped forward. He randomly chose a path and charged forward. Lu Ming's performance wasn't too shocking either. Although he managed to break through at an extremely fast speed, his speed was only average among the second-class prodigies. Therefore, he didn't cause too much of a commotion. Because Lu Ming was able to suppress Wu Kang before, it was normal for him to have such a result. The others were not too surprised. After Lu Ming passed, several second-class heavenly legends passed the test one after another. After these second-class geniuses passed, no one else tried. The remaining third-class geniuses, and even those who were weaker, all shook their heads. There was no need for them to try, because it was impossible. All right, the screening is over, Xie Qitian said. With a wave of his hand, the 18 rainbow paths disappeared without a trace. At the scene, everyone's eyes fell on the platform. There were a total of 40 people on the platform. In other words, only 40 people had passed the selection. Nanming is really something. 2 of them are suspected to be on the same level as the Great Five, and 3 other second-tier prodigies. Northern Plains is also impressive. Other than Tuoba Shur, there are also 3 second-tier prodigies. I think the Western Desert is unfathomable. They have 2 suspected Great Five, but no second-tier prodigies. This isn't realistic. I don't think even the second-tier prodigies are here. I can't see how strong they are at all. Indeed. The Western Desert has always been unfathomable. They have a long history. No one knows how long ago the Western Desert Saint Monk appeared. Speaking of which, the Eastern Wilderness is really awkward. Only one the Arch passed the selection. Haha. Many people were discussing. Lu Ming looked around. It was indeed so. Central Continent had the most people. Other than him, there were a total of 27 people. 5 from Nanming, 4 from Northern Plains, and 2 from Western Desert. However, the 2 from Western Desert were unfathomable. Eastern Wilderness only had one the Arch. Eastern Wilderness? It's just a barren land. Li Lai is the weakest. How many prodigies can there be? It's already good that they have won the Arch. I heard that there's also someone called Lu Ming, who's above the Arch, but he didn't come. He didn't come. I'm afraid his declined, so he doesn't dare to come. He used to be stronger than the Arch, but now he's probably weaker than the Arch. That's true. Let's not talk about the Eastern Wilderness. Everyone discussed and expressed their opinions. However, when the Eastern Wilderness was mentioned, they all looked at it with contempt. In the crowd, Xue Jianyi, AO2, Dongfang Yu, and the others' faces turned red. However, they felt helpless in their hearts. They had no choice. The Eastern Wilderness was indeed the weakest. This was an indisputable fact. They used to stand at the top of the Eastern Wilderness and were full of confidence. They thought that even if they came to Central Continent, they would be able to make a name for themselves. However, ever since they came to Central Continent, they had been dealt a heavy blow. There were too many people in Central Continent who were stronger than them. Even the Arch was only a second-tier prodigy. This made them feel dejected. I wonder what kind of name Lu Ming will make if he comes to Central Continent. He'll probably be suppressed and won't be able to do much. At this moment, Xue Jianyi, Dongfang Yu, AO2, and the others thought of Lu Ming. However, they thought that even if Lu Ming came, he would probably be weaker than the Arch. The Arch had comprehended the intent of space and was extremely powerful. During the Battle of Providence, Theache's intent of space was still weak. The intent of space would become stronger as one progressed. They believed that the arch had already surpassed Lu Ming. Alright, there are 40 people in total. Now, let's begin the first round. The rules of the first round are very simple. I've already recorded the time you took to pass the selection. Now, according to the time you took to pass, you'll be divided into 2 groups. The shorter the time, the better the result. The top 20 will be in one group, and the bottom 20 will be in the other. The rule of the first round is that the bottom 20 will challenge the top 20. If they succeed, they'll advance directly. If they fail, they'll be eliminated directly. Moreover, each person can only challenge once. Those who are challenged can only accept one challenge. Xie Qitian announced. What? The bottom 20 will challenge the top 20? Many people's expressions changed. There was no doubt that Yang Potian, Lion Du, and the others had taken the shortest time, and those who were challenged could only accept one challenge. This meant that someone would definitely challenge Yang Potian, Lion Du, and the others. Wouldn't that mean that they would lose? Now, I'll announce the names of the bottom 20. Wu Kang, Sanguinarum, Xie Qitian announced the names of the bottom 20. Those whose names were called had ugly expressions. At the same time, they began to size up those whose names were not called. I didn't expect to enter the top 20. Lu Ming smiled slightly. Apart from him, Sandalwood Fairy, Jing Kongling, the Arch, and Wu Chengkong, the second-grade prodigies that Lu Ming knew, were all in the top 20. Kong Xin, Jun Yu, and the others were in the bottom 20. Liu Yusin was also in the bottom 20. Her expression was ugly. Chapter 11:21. Yang Potian, Lion Do, Kong Lin, and Long Chen were ignored. Tuoba Shu, Unscrupulous Monk, and other powerhouses were also ignored. Challenging them was no different from admitting defeat. Besides, the Emperor God, who had mastered the space concept, was also excluded. Wu Chengkong, who had always been at the top of the second-grade prodigies, was also excluded. There were also a few others who gave off an unfathomable feeling. There were also Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling, 2 peerless beauties who were pursued by many people. Of course, no one would challenge them. There were only a few people left. Many people's gazes swept over Lu Ming and the other 2 people. Lu Ming had defeated Wu Kang before, but Wu Kang was considered weak among the second-grade prodigies. Besides, Lu Ming had used a treasure to block the attack of a 4th-grade spirit god. However, in such an occasion, one would not be allowed to win with a treasure. One had to rely on one's own strength. Therefore, Lu Ming was undoubtedly one of the best targets to challenge. Before we start, I'll say 2 things. First, this is only a competition. You can't kill your opponent. Second, don't rely too much on external items. You have to rely on your own strength. Xie Qitian announced. You, the bearded man, I challenge you. What are you doing? That bearded man is mine. Get lost, all of you. He's mine. As soon as Xie Qitian finished speaking, a few people stared at Lu Ming, wanting to challenge him. Hey, do you all think I'm easy to bully? There was a fierce glint in Lu Ming's eyes as he scanned the few of them. Wait a minute. This is too messy. We'll do it according to the results. Those with good results in the bottom 20 will have priority. As soon as Xie Qitian said that, the place quieted down. Following which, an old man walked out and reported the rankings of the following 20 people one by one. The more they reported, the uglier their faces became. Those with good results would have priority, so they would definitely challenge the weak. In other words, the last one would be the strongest. For example, Long Chen, Yang Potian, and the others. Who would challenge them at the beginning? Those who were ranked at the bottom would definitely encounter Yang Potian and the others. How could they be happy? Now, let's begin. After the names were reported, Xie Qitian announced. I'll go first. Liu Yusin stepped out. Her results were the best among the 20 people behind her. She almost made it into the top 20. Her gaze swept over the crowd and finally landed on Lu Ming. A cold light flashed in her eyes as she said, Big Beard, I challenge you. Previously, Lu Ming did not give her any face at all, and even suppressed the cold-blood hall genius in front of everyone. In Liu Yuxin's view, this was a complete slap to her face. She had long wanted to teach Lu Ming a lesson. Now that there was such an opportunity, how could she miss it? "Little girl, you want to challenge me? Like I said before, be careful or I'll spank you." Lu Ming grinned as his gaze swept over Liu Yuxin's perky buttocks. "You are courting death." Liu Yuxin's face turned ugly. This guy is really courting death. Shado, one of the 5 magnates, emitted a cold light and murderous intent, causing those standing beside him to tremble. Everyone in the central continent knew that Shado had always been Liu Yuxin's suitor. Since Lu Ming dared to flirt with Liu Yuxin, it was obvious that Shado had his eyes on him. Liu Yuxin challenged Lu Ming. Everyone else stepped back and stood at the edge of the platform. Only Lu Ming and Liu Yuxin stood facing each other on the platform. "If I don't beat you until you beg for mercy today, I'm not Liu Yuxin." Liu Yuxin's beautiful eyes were full of cold light. She was confident that she could defeat Lu Ming, because she had not used her full strength in the selection. Swoosh! Suddenly, Liu Yuxin moved. She pounced on Lu Ming. The strange thing was that as Liu Yuxin dashed out, there were more and more of her figures. 1 into 2, 2 into 4, 4 into 8. In the end, the platform was filled with Liu Yuxin's silhouettes. There were hundreds of them, densely packed around Liu Yuxin. This is the illusion demon body technique of the Dark Illusion sect. Liu Yuxin has actually cultivated it to this level. How shocking! At the edge of the platform, some second-grade prodigies recognized this body technique and had a serious expression. With hundreds of silhouettes appearing all of a sudden, how could he fight back? Liu Yuxin's battle strength was considered above average even among second-grade prodigies. Illusion demon finger. With a shout, the hundreds of silhouettes stretched out their hands at the same time. Her slender, jade-like fingers seemed slender and weak, but they exuded a power that was more terrifying than that of a divine weapon. They pierced through the void, aiming to kill Lu Ming. Swoosh! Swoosh! There were finger forces in all directions, aiming at the vital parts of Lu Ming's body. A black spear appeared in Lu Ming's hand. Ming Lu was from the Black Spear sect, so he had bought a black spear some time ago. It was a middle-grade level 8 spirit weapon. Swoosh! Swoosh! With a shake of the spear, streaks of black spear flowers condensed in the air and flew towards the finger forces. Bam! Bam! There was a series of collisions, and the spear flowers and finger forces disappeared. Wang! Then, the black spear radiance expanded and swept out with a force that could wipe out an army. However, Liu Yuxin's body technique was indeed impressive. In the face of such an attack, the hundreds of silhouettes on the platform flashed and dodged Lu Ming's spear. "Let's see how many spears you can dodge." Lu Ming held the spear and swept out continuously. The spear radiance was like a black dragon, surging on the huge platform and enveloping the entire platform. Although Liu Yuxin's body technique was strong, its power was greatly reduced on such a platform. Soon, she could no longer dodge, and the silhouettes were hit by the spear radiance and dissipated. Humph! Liu Yuxin snorted and advanced instead of retreating. Her figure flashed continuously at an incredible speed. Lu Ming's spear radiance was like a dragon, but he could not hit her. When she approached Lu Ming, a grey fog appeared above Liu Yuxin's head. On the grey fog, there were 8 golden chakras. This was Liu Yuxin's bloodline. Great dream of spring and autumn. At this moment, Liu Yuxin transformed into a ball of grey fog. The grey fog expanded rapidly, shrouding Lu Ming within it. When Lu Ming was enveloped by the grey fog, the surroundings suddenly changed. Boom! The heavens and earth shook violently. Lu Ming saw an intense battle taking place in front of him. Talisman Puppet Sect. Lu Ming was shocked. The Talisman Puppet Sect was in front of him. At this moment, the yin-yang formation of the Talisman Puppet Sect was broken. The Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's army was swarming in and charging into the yin-yang mountain. At this moment, both sides were fighting a bloody battle. He saw the 9 Sons Prime, Yang Kuangtu, being killed by martial monarch Di Yi. Bai Shijin, Du Songjue, and the others died at the hands of the Emperor Heaven Divine Palace's primes. His parents, his disciples, and his friends were all turned into ashes in the bloody battle. Illusion, illusion, this is an illusion. Lu Ming took a deep breath and his eyes flickered continuously. In the sacred mansion's secret realm, he had entered an illusion created by an existence that surpassed the Emperor realm and almost got lost. Compared to that illusion, this illusion was too fake. How could it confuse Lu Ming? Chapter 1122. At this moment, at the edge of the platform, the geniuses, the rulers, supremes, and many other powerhouses on their seats, as well as the powerhouses in the holy city in the surrounding air, were all staring at the platform. They saw Lu Ming's figure being shrouded by the grey fog. It's Liu Yuxin's dream of spring and autumn. That guy called Ming Lu is finished. The outcome has been decided. That's right. Once Liu Yuxin's dream of spring and autumn is used, he can only retreat. Once he's shrouded, he'll fall into an endless illusion. Even the top 5 youths would be in danger. Liu Yuxin has won. A few second-class geniuses were discussing. They knew how terrifying Liu Yuxin's dream of spring and autumn was. This was Liu Yuxin's bloodline secret technique. It was very mysterious and unpredictable. After that, no one made a sound and they waited quietly. Lu Ming's eyes were tightly shut in the grey fog. However, 2 minutes later, Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes. Let's end this. Lu Ming's lips curled into a smile as he shouted. The scene of the Talisman Puppet Sect's battle suddenly froze. Then, it shattered like a mirror and turned into nothingness. Lu Ming was still standing on the platform as the grey fog shrouded him. Break. Lu Ming's palm was like a sword as the 5-colored intent exploded and he slashed down. Boom. Heaven and earth shook violently as the grey fog rolled. It was constantly being destroyed by Lu Ming's true origin. In the next moment, Lu Ming took a step forward and dashed in a certain direction. He grabbed with his claw and a terrifying force suddenly erupted. In that direction, the grey fog was destroyed and Liu Yuxin's figure appeared. At this moment, her eyes were wide open and her mouth was agape. Her face was filled with disbelief. His true origin condensed into a huge hand and grabbed Liu Yuxin. His true origin surged in and sealed Liu Yuxin's major acupoints, preventing her from circulating her true origin. As Liu Yuxin was grabbed by Lu Ming, the grey fog dissipated. When the crowd saw this scene, they were stunned. Liu Yuxin has been defeated and captured. What's going on? Many people did not see what had happened because of the grey fog. They thought that Lu Ming would definitely lose. However, after 2 minutes, the fog dissipated and they saw this scene. Some sovereigns and sovereigns' eyes flickered but they did not speak. They had obviously seen something. Let me go. Liu Yuxin struggled hard in the true origin hand's hand. But her true origin was sealed. How could she break free with just her physical strength? Let you go. Hihi, did I forget what I said? Lu Ming grinned, his eyes darting all over Liu Yuxin's body. Liu Yuxin stared at Liu Yuxin. What do you want? Of course it's to spank you. Su SSS your will. King Sovereigns you. How? Liu Yuxin glared at Lu Ming angrily. Her threat was self-evident. You dare to threaten me? You're asking for a beating. With a thought, he controlled his true origin and grabbed Liu Yuxin. Then, he slapped Liu Yuxin's round buttocks. Smack. A clear and crisp sound echoed throughout the entire area. Lu Ming's palm slapped Liu Yuxin's butt hard, causing her butt to tremble violently in front of everyone's eyes. Silence. The scene suddenly fell into a dead silence. Countless people stared at the scene with their mouths open. He hit Liu Yuxin's butt. After a long time, someone stammered, but he couldn't finish his sentence. They couldn't believe it. The peerless beauty Liu Yuxin, who was capable of causing the downfall of nations, was actually being spanked in front of everyone. This was simply inconceivable. How could this Ming Lu be so daring? Liu Yuxin was one of the 5 peerless beauties of Zhengzhou State. Of course, more people were envious. Whether young or old, they were envious. Some even had red eyes. They also wanted to slap one of the 5 great beauties of Zhengzhou State, but they didn't dare to. Pervert, Lecture. A woman scolded and looked at Lu Ming with disdain. You're courting death. A loud roar was heard, and a terrifying murderous intent erupted. A golden light soared into the sky. Shadow looked at Lu Ming with murderous intent, wishing he could tear Lu Ming into pieces. As everyone knew, Shadow had been pursuing Liu Yusin. Since Lu Ming dared to treat Liu Yusin like this, he naturally wished he could kill Lu Ming. At this time, Liu Yusin was also stunned. She stared at Lu Ming in a daze. After a long while, she let out an earth-shattering scream. She was actually being treated like this by Lu Ming in front of everyone. She wished there was a hole in the ground and she could crawl into it. You're dead. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Liu Yusin screamed and struggled desperately. What are you screaming for? How dare you threaten me? Hit me again. Lu Ming scolded and slapped her again. The clear and melodious voice once again echoed throughout the entire area. Everyone's eyes were about to explode, especially the men. They were so envious that their eyes turned red. Some of them were so excited that they were trembling. It was as if they had replaced Lu Ming to teach Liu Yusin a lesson. Commander! Commander! He, Tai Xing and the other members of the law-enforcing army were completely speechless. They knew that Lu Ming was awesome, but this was too awesome. Even some of the sovereigns and supreme beings at the table felt their eyelids twitching. How dare you! A supreme being from the Serene Fantasy sect couldn't hold it in any longer. He shouted and his supreme being aura spread. However, he was immediately stopped by the sovereigns of the Serene Fantasy sect. Today was the ancient Saint Dynasty's million-year sacrifice ceremony. Many experts had gathered. Besides, Lu Ming and Liu Yusin were having a fair fight on the fighting stage. It wasn't appropriate for them to interfere. Ming, you're dead. The golden light on Shadow's body shone brighter, and terrifying murderous intent shrouded Lu Ming. What are you screaming for? Who are you? Shut the hell up. Lu Ming stared coldly at the lion. He was stunned and berated. The lion was enraged. It almost dashed out to kill Lu Ming. In the end, he held it in. With so many sovereigns here, he didn't dare to break the rules. You still dare to threaten me? Lu Ming looked at Liu Yusin again. I'm going to kill you, Liu Yusin screamed. Smack. Another slap was sent down, and Liu Yusin's screams stopped abruptly. The surrounding people were already numb. This awesome commander is too awesome. He's already defying the heavens. He's completely lawless and audacious. Where did this Ming Lu come from? I've never heard of him before. He seems to have appeared out of nowhere. First, he suppressed Wu Kang. Now, he's treating Liu Yusin like this. To be honest, I'm really impressed. A Sky Pride spoke. He looked very simple and honest. Everyone recognized that he was a Sky Pride from the Soldier Manor. I'm mi-haired. I'm envious. A Buddhist chant was heard. Everyone was stunned because the person who said he was envious was the heartless monk. However, you're just a monk. What are you envious of? Do you want to go up and have a try? Many people were speechless. Amitabha. Chapter 11:23. Are you still threatening me? Lu Ming continued to stare at Liu Yusin. Liu Yusin bit her lips. This time, she did not dare to speak. That's right. I've already warned you twice, but you didn't listen. Little girl, I'll teach you a lesson on behalf of your elders. Don't hold a grudge. I'm doing this for your own good. Lu Ming spoke eloquently, as if he was an elder lecturing a junior. Coupled with his big beard, he looked like he was in his 40s. He really did have that kind of aura. Liu Yusin could only glare at Lu Ming hatefully. She did not dare to say a word, but she could not wait to cut Lu Ming into pieces. She hated it. In the future, when others saw her, they would definitely think of this bearded man. Alright, that's all for today. Behave yourself in the future. Don't be so arrogant. With that, Lu Ming waved his hand and Liu Yusin flew out. When she flew out of the platform, Lu Ming had already unsealed the quintessential essence in her body. Liu Yusin's quintessential essence spread out. She glanced at Lu Ming with murderous intent, then flew to the seats of the Xuanhuan sect without saying a word. Ming Lu wins this battle, an elder from the Imperial Xie family announced. Lu Ming grinned and walked to the side of the platform. This big brother is amazing. I'm impressed. At the side, Monk Wuliang put his palms together, his face full of admiration. This made the hearts of the people around him twitch. Is this monk really a holy monk of the Western Desert? Haha, master, you're exaggerating, Lu Ming said casually. However, he did not dare to underestimate this monk Wuliang. He felt that this monk was unfathomable. Next, the competition continued. A sky pride from Nanming stepped forward. His ranking was second only to Liu Yuxin. This person chose a sky pride who was slightly weaker. Unfortunately, he still lost and followed in Liu Yuxin's footsteps. Next, the challenges continued one after another. The next two contestants were very strong. They both won. However, from the fifth challenge onwards, the challengers began to lose. Kong Xin challenged Wu Chengkong and was defeated. Wu Chengkong's cultivation had actually reached the second level of spirit god. Wu Chengkong must have made another breakthrough during this period of time. Two people challenged Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling, but they both failed. Sandalwood Fairy used her body to carve a formation. The peerless killing formation within her body erupted, and it was extremely powerful. In addition to his alchemy skills, his combat prowess was astonishing. Pure emptiness had comprehended 3 different mentalities. The combination of the 3 mentalities was mysterious and unpredictable. His battling power was also very strong. It would not be difficult for him to defeat his opponent. Immediately, someone challenged Di Shen. The concept of space was truly worthy of being called the king of concepts. The further one cultivated it, the more astonishing its power was. In the end, Di Shen defeated his opponent and maintained his position in the top 20. Soon, only Long Chen, Yang Potian, and Unscrupulous Monk were left. The faces of the remaining 9 people who had yet to issue a challenge were extremely ugly. Some people were really unwilling to accept it. After picking and choosing, they finally chose Monk Wuliang. This fellow didn't seem reliable. Perhaps his battle prowess wasn't strong enough? Then, the second-class prodigy who had issued the challenge was sent flying off the platform by Heartless Monk. He won in one move. The difference was too great. The remaining 8 people sighed. Knowing that it was meaningless to challenge him, they all admitted defeat. The first round was over. There were 20 people left. Everyone looked at Xie Chitian, wanting to know the rules of the next round. Would it be a one-on-one battle again? In the second round, let's decide the winner and the loser in one fell swoop. Xie Chitian said, the 20 of you will fight in a free-for-all on the platform. You can fight however you want. The score will be calculated according to the time you stay on the platform. The longer you stay on the platform, the better your score will be. In the end, the top 10 and top 3 will be determined. A free-for-all? Everyone was shocked. Xie Chitian had actually used a free-for-all method to let the 20 prodigies on the platform fight to determine the winner. This made the situation complicated. A free-for-all was not a one-on-one battle. They could join forces or form alliances. The situation was ever-changing. Now, let's begin. Xie Chitian's voice spread across the entire platform. Whoosh, whoosh. As soon as Xie Chitian's voice fell, a figure on the platform moved away from the people around him and stared at the others cautiously. Everyone was an enemy except for himself. No one could guarantee that no one would suddenly attack him. Only Long Chen looked calm and indifferent. He stood there casually and looked straight ahead as if he did not care at all. On the platform, everyone looked at each other and the atmosphere became extremely tense. Yang Potian, let's continue to fight. Today, we must decide the winner. A loud roar broke the silence. Tuoba Shi held the mace in his hand and charged towards Yang Potian. That's what I want. I'll defeat you today. The sky halberd appeared in Yang Potian's hand. He took a step forward and charged towards Tuoba Shi. Boom. The sky halberd and the sky halberd collided heavily. The space was torn apart and a terrifying force swept out in all directions. Third level spirit god. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Young Potian and Tuoba-Sha's cultivation had indeed broken through to the third-level spirit god. They were stronger than when they were in the secret realm of the Saint Mansion. Such prodigies were terrifying. Not only were their combat strength shocking, but their cultivation speed was also terrifying. Boom, boom, boom. The two exchanged more than 10 blows and the entire world seemed to be trembling. So powerful. The second-class prodigies were shocked when they saw this scene. Was this the strength of the young tycoons? They were too powerful. How could they compete with them? Western Desert bald donkeys, I won't fight for a while. Let's see if your strength has improved. The young man covered in black flames stared at Monk Wuliang and the female bodhisattva. Little dog on fire, I'll fulfill your wish. Monk Wuliang took a step forward and his body was covered in golden light. A golden palm print blasted towards the young man covered in black flames. The black flames on the young man's body burned fiercely. It was terrifying, as if they were flames from hell. Boom, boom. Monk Wuliang and the young man covered in black flames exchanged a few blows. The flames and the golden light split the world into two sides. The others on the side retreated far away. Fortunately, the platform was big enough and sturdy. Otherwise, the others would not have a place to stand. The commotion caused by the battle between the two was not any smaller than the battle between young Potian and Tuoba-Sha. Amitabha. The female bodhisattva of the Western Desert chanted the name of Buddha and stepped forward. With every step she took, a golden lotus would appear under her feet. It was holy and beautiful. Her target was the underworld child. The Western Desert and Southern Underworld had been enemies since ancient times. One was Buddha and the other was evil. The prodigies of the two domains naturally knew each other and had fought many times in the past. This time, they naturally clashed as soon as they met. Chapter 1124. As soon as the competition began, the Western Desert and Nanming continent prodigies started fighting. Young Potian and Tuoba-Sha were engaged in a fierce battle. While the 6 prodigies were engaged in an intense battle, the rest did not move. Long Chen stood there calmly. His expression was indifferent and his aura was calm. There did not seem to be anything special about him. However, everyone took the initiative to distance themselves from him. Naturally, no one would be courting death by attacking him. Among the remaining prodigies, only Lion Do and Kong Lin were left. Both of them scanned the second-class prodigies coldly. Especially Lion Do. His cold and murderous gaze swept past Lu Ming from time to time. The remaining second-class prodigies were wary of each other and distanced themselves from each other. Brother Lion, Brother Kong, I have a suggestion. Why don't we team up and defeat all of them? That way, there will only be 10 of us left. Wu Chengkong walked toward Lion Do and suggested. Then, he scanned all the second-class prodigies, including Lu Ming. The second-class prodigies' expressions changed when they heard that. There were a total of 9 prodigies on the platform. Including Wu Chengkong, there were 10 of them. Wu Chengkong's intention was obvious. Once everyone was defeated, he would be able to secure a spot in the top 10. Lion Do and Kong Lin's eyes flashed as they scanned the crowd. All right, we'll do as you say, Lion Do said. Lion Tiger Hall was on good terms with Tianwu Sword Sect. Lion Do was also on good terms with Wu Chengkong. That was why he agreed to Wu Chengkong's suggestion. Another reason was that it would be beneficial for them to leave the top 10 on the platform earlier. The prodigies would definitely fight for the top 10. However, if they fought now and someone lost, wouldn't they fall out of the top 10 and be taken advantage of by the second-class prodigies? If they could secure a spot in the top 10, they would be able to fight to their heart's content. Even if they lost, they could still enter the Sacred Emperor Ancient Palace to comprehend. Kong Lin had obviously thought of that too. His eyes flashed as he said, I agree too. All right, Kong Lin. Let's team up and get rid of these trash. Lion Do sneered and his eyes were cold. The second-class prodigy's expressions turned ugly. Wu Chengkong, you're despicable. Damn it. Everyone, I suggest we team up. Otherwise, we'll all lose. All right, I agree. Let's work together. Several second-class geniuses spoke one after another. In a flash, 6 second-class geniuses gathered together, intending to join forces against Shi Do, Kong Lin, and Wu Chengkong. However, Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling did not follow them. The two peerless fairies gathered together and retreated to the side. In addition, Di Shen did not gather with them. His figure flickered and he retreated. Of course, it was impossible for Lu Ming to meet up with them. "You guys, why aren't you coming over? Do you want to be defeated by them one by one?" A young man shouted coldly as he glanced at Di Shen and Lu Ming. "You don't have to worry about me." Lu Ming smiled faintly. HMPH, stubborn. "You think you have some strength, so you're getting carried away. Let's see how you'll be defeated." The young man scolded Lu Ming. He was very unhappy that Lu Ming did not join them. "Do it." Lion opened his mouth and stared at Lu Ming first. "Brother Lion, you don't have to do anything for this guy. I'll take him down," Wu Chengkong said as he stared at Lu Ming. "All right. The Saint Emperor said that we can't kill him, but that's all. You know what to do now, right?" Lion Do pondered for a moment and nodded. "Don't worry, I'll break his limbs and bones. I guarantee that he won't be able to get out of bed for half a year." Wu Chengkong revealed a sinister smile. Now that he had broken through to the second-level spirit god realm, his combat strength had increased tremendously. He was full of confidence and did not take Lu Ming seriously at all. Bam! Bam! He took a few steps forward and the sword chi on his body whistled as he closed in on Lu Ming. "How dare you injure the elites of Sky Martial Sword Sect? I'll let you know the consequences now." Wu Chengkong's voice was extremely cold and his eyes were as sharp as a sword. "Smashing Sky Martial Sword Sect, it seems like you don't learn your lesson. This time, I'll teach you a lesson." A cold light flashed in Lu Ming's eyes. He took a step forward and struck at Wu Chengkong. Clang! The sword aura let out a long cry. Wu Chengkong unsheathed his combat sword and a sharp sword aura slashed toward Lu Ming. His cultivation had broken through to the second-level spirit god realm and his combat strength was much stronger than when he was in the Sacred Mansion secret realm. The sword chi cut through the void and slashed at Lu Ming. Boom! Lu Ming's palm struck Wu Chengkong's sword chi and shattered it. At the same time, his palm continued to strike. Clang! When the palm landed on the sword, there was a loud explosion. The battle sword trembled non-stop. Wu Chengkong felt as if he had been hit by an ancient divine mountain. He could feel a terrifying force surging towards him, causing his body to involuntarily retreat. "How is this possible?" Wu Chengkong roared, his eyes filled with disbelief. He had been forced back by Lu Ming's palm strike. He was already one of the top second-grade prodigies. Now, he was ahead of the other second-grade prodigies and was the first to reach the second-level spirit god realm. His combat strength was so strong that he was almost invincible among the giants. But now, he had been forced back by Lu Ming's palm strike. It was hard for him to accept. The surrounding spectators were also shocked beyond words. This bearded commander's combat strength had exceeded their expectations. Could he really be a match for Wu Chengkong? Boom! Boom! At this moment, Shi Do and Kong Lin had already made their moves. The two of them displayed their terrifying combat strength and attacked the 6 second-grade prodigies like a storm. Although the 6 second-grade prodigies tried their best to resist, they were still at a disadvantage. This showed the terrifying combat strength of a giant prodigy. Dong! Lu Ming took a step forward and the entire platform rumbled. His true yuan surged as he used the suppressing hell skill. Every move he made contained terrifying power. He instantly appeared in front of Wu Chengkong and punched out a few times. The punches carried endless power. The sky shook and groaned as if it could not withstand Lu Ming's punches. How can he be so strong? Wu Chengkong was terrified. He unleashed all his strength and slashed out shocking sword chi with his battle sword. But all of them were suppressed and defeated by Lu Ming's punches. Lu Ming was like a hot knife through butter. Wu Chengkong was forced back. His body trembled and he vomited blood. Explode! Explode! Wu Chengkong activated his bloodline and transformed into a battle sword as he retreated. But it was useless. Lu Ming's punches were too powerful and suppressed everything. Clang, clang, clang. The punches landed on the battle sword. After 7 punches, the battle sword that Wu Chengkong had transformed into exploded. Wu Chengkong's body reappeared and he was vomiting blood. His face was pale. Defeated, Wu Chengkong was defeated. This result was beyond many people's expectations. Although Lu Ming had defeated Wu Kang was considered weak among the second-grade prodigies. Wu Chengkong, on the other hand, was a top second-grade prodigy who had broken through to the second-level spirit god realm. His combat strength was much stronger than Wu Kang's. At first, no one thought that Lu Ming would be a match for Wu Chengkong. This commander of the law enforcement troop is really unexpected, some of the older generation exclaimed. Chapter 11:25. Smack. Lu Ming rushed over and slapped Wu Chengkong's face. Wu Chengkong let out a blood-curdling scream as his body slammed into the platform. His head was like a hammer, causing the platform to rumble. Wu Chengkong felt his head buzzing. He was completely dumbfounded. Crack. Then, a piercing pain came from his left leg, waking him up. "My leg!" he screamed. Lu Ming stomped on one of his legs, breaking all the bones. Crack. Then, Lu Ming stomped on his right leg, breaking it. Wu Chengkong screamed as he broke out in cold sweat. "What are you screaming for? Didn't you say you were going to break all my limbs and bones? If that's the case, I'll let you have a taste." Lu Ming scolded as he formed a long spear in his hand. He swept it across Wu Chengkong's arms, breaking all the bones in his arms. This was not an ordinary bone break. It contained Lu Ming's terrifying vital essence. Wu Chengkong's vital essence vibrated, shattering all the bones in his arms. Even with Wu Chengkong's powerful cultivation and physical strength, he would not be able to recover in a few months. In the spectator stands, the Tianwu sword sect's upper echelons looked extremely gloomy. Some of them wanted to rush up and chop Lu Ming into pieces. However, they could only endure it in such a situation. "Your screams are so fucking unpleasant. You sound like a pig being slaughtered. Get lost." In the end, Lu Ming kicked Wu Chengkong, sending him flying off the platform. Of course, the last kick had also shattered all the bones in Wu Chengkong's body. It would be difficult for him to recover in less than half a year. In a battle between geniuses, every second mattered. Wu Chengkong would probably be overtaken by other geniuses in half a year's time. A disciple of the celestial martial sword sect flew out and caught Wu Chengkong, carrying him to the spectator stand. An elder of the celestial martial sword sect fed Wu Chengkong a healing pellet. "That thief is so ruthless." The Tianwu sword sect's elder gnashed his teeth in hatred. Lu Ming was too ruthless. He had shattered all the bones in Wu Chengkong's body. Not a single bone was left intact. It would be difficult to recover in a short period of time. At this moment, the battle on the platform became even more intense. Lu Ming had defeated Wu Chengkong, while Shadou and Kong Lin were about to win as well. One of the 6 second-class prodigies had already been knocked off the platform. That trash. Seeing that Wu Chengkong had been defeated, Shadou could not help but yell. Then, he let out a wild roar as his body shone with a dazzling golden light. In the next moment, Shadou transformed into his true form. It was a golden lion, 5 meters tall and more than 10 meters long. Its entire body was covered in golden fur, and there were even golden flames dancing on its fur. Sun Lion. Lion Do had 90% of the sun god lion's bloodline. He was almost a pure-blooded sun god lion. As long as he broke through to become a ruler, he would be able to transform into a real sun god lion. Roar. Shadou let out a loud roar. Now that he had transformed into his true form, he was even more terrifying. With a loud roar, the heavens and earth shook, and the clouds in the sky were scattered. With a slap of his huge paw, a second-class prodigy was sent flying off the platform. He spat out a mouthful of blood. The difference was too great. One move was enough to seriously injure him. The second-class prodigies who were able to enter the top 20 were all elites among the second-class prodigies. However, they were still no match for Shadow. Roar! Shadow let out a loud roar. His golden flames surged as his combat strength exploded. 2 more prodigies were sent flying. The remaining 2 were sent flying by Kong Lin's 2 slaps. In this way, the 6 second-class prodigies were all defeated. Including Wu Chengkong, who was sent flying by Lu Ming, a total of 7 prodigies were defeated. There were only 13 left on the platform. As long as 3 more prodigies were defeated, the top 10 would be born. Shadow's cold gaze first fell on Lu Ming. On the other side, Kong Lin's gaze first swept across Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling, then landed on Di Shen. Shadow, leave Di Shen to me and Ming Lu to you. How about we take one each? Kong Lin said. That's exactly what I want, Shadow said. At this moment, Kong Lin's gaze fell on Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling. He smiled and said, Sandalwood Fairy, after I take care of Di Shen and Ming Lu, there will only be 11 prodigies left on the platform. I'll have to ask Miss Kongling to step down. This way, you can also enter the top 10. Kong Lin was one of Sandalwood Fairy's admirers. Naturally, he would seize the opportunity to court her. Is that so? Are you that confident, young Master Kong? Don't tell me you can't do it. Sandalwood Fairy squinted her eyes and smiled. Ha ha ha, can't do it. Other than the prodigies, no one can escape from me. Kong Lin smiled and suddenly moved. A 5-colored light flashed as he pounced at Di Shen. His speed was terrifying. Kong Lin's true form was a peacock. He had 90% of the 5 elements peacock's bloodline and his speed was unparalleled. However, his opponent was Di Shen. He was the king of space and was also good at speed. Whoosh! Whoosh! Di Shen didn't fight with Kong Lin. Instead, he used the instant step to dodge Kong Lin's attack. The 2 of them chased each other and their speed was astonishing. They kept flashing on the platform. It was hard to tell who was the winner. 2nd level Spirit God. Di Shen has also reached the 2nd level Spirit God, someone exclaimed as he saw Di Shen's cultivation. Eastern Wilderness finally has a decent prodigy. Although he's not as strong as the prodigies, he's one of the best among the 2nd-tier prodigies, someone commented. Di Shen had comprehended the space intent and had reached the 2nd level Spirit God. He was already at the peak of the 2nd-tier prodigies. Perhaps even Wu Chengkong was no match for him. Roar! When the lion roared, it stomped on the ground and pounced toward Lu Ming. The golden claw radiance was like a golden heavenly saber that tore the space apart. Dragon power! With a thought, the 7 dragon powers in his body exploded. There was a purple glow on Lu Ming's body. However, there was no scale armor. Therefore, the head of the Wang family and the head of the Jiang family could not recognize Lu Ming. Lu Ming's power was even more shocking. At the same time, he punched out with the 5-colored intent. At this moment, everyone was shocked. Ming Lu wants to fight Shadow head-on. He's overestimating himself. That's right. His combat power is indeed strong. However, there's still a big gap between him and a prodigy. It's unwise to fight him head-on. Many people initially thought that Lu Ming would learn from the arch and try his best to retreat and stall for time. As long as he waited for the battle between Shi Mo and Nan Ming, or Yang Potian and Tuoba Shi to emerge victorious, he would be able to enter the top 10. They didn't expect that Lu Ming would choose to fight Shadow head-on. Wasn't it suicide to fight a prodigy head-on? 5-colored intent. He has comprehended 5 intents. On the spectator stand, the Wang and Jiang family leaders were shocked. Previously, they had seen Lu Ming comprehend 4 types of intents. That was already the highest number of intents they had seen someone comprehend. But now, they actually saw someone comprehend 5 types of intents. They didn't think that Ming Lu was Lu Ming. Firstly, they had seen Lu Ming outside the Talisman Puppet sect. It was impossible for him to be in the central continent. Secondly, Lu Ming had only comprehended 4 intents in the Battle of Providence. It was too difficult for him to comprehend new intents at such a high cultivation. Chapter 11:26. Boom! Lu Ming's fist and Lion Do's golden claw collided heavily. Suddenly, 5-colored light and golden light burst out, forming a 6-colored light pillar that soared into the sky. Terrifying waves of air rushed out in all directions. Bang! Bang! The two figures retreated simultaneously, each retreating 100 meters and facing each other. It was a draw. This move was a draw. This made many people dumbfounded. This Ming Lu could actually block Lion Do's move. Although he was pushed back, he still pushed Lion Do back. Wasn't this too strong? Could it be that Ming Lu was also a giant-level Heaven's Pride? Everyone's hearts kept twitching. Since when were giant-level Heaven's Prides so worthless? Lion Do himself was also very shocked, but this aroused his fierceness even more. Die! With a loud roar, the golden flames on Lion Do's body jumped dozens of meters high. The terrifying heat seemed to be able to melt everything, causing the space to distort and even directly burn through, revealing a dark space. His aura also became more violent and more shocking. The sun god lion's bloodline in his body began to boil, as if it was about to turn into a golden sun. Peak 2nd level spirit god. Lion Do's cultivation was peak 2nd level spirit god. Ming Lu, we're both 2nd level spirit god. I'll let you understand the difference between you and me, Lion Do said coldly, looking at Lu Ming with a very cold gaze. Just now, Lu Ming's cultivation was 2nd level spirit god. Who said I'm 2nd level spirit god? Lu Ming smiled faintly. In the next moment, boom, a violent aura rushed out from Lu Ming's body, vast and mighty. 3rd level spirit god. At this moment, Lu Ming's cultivation was 3rd level spirit god. What? This Ming Lu's cultivation is 3rd level spirit god? How is this possible? Nestle, he's too strong. This guy has been hiding his strength all along. Isn't this too abnormal? The eruption of Lu Ming's cultivation caused an uproar in all directions. Lu Ming's cultivation had actually reached the terrifying 3rd level of the spirit god realm. When he tested his bone age earlier, his age clearly hadn't reached 25 years old yet. Being able to reach the 3rd level of the spirit god realm before the age of 25 was too shocking and terrifying. Even some of the supremes and rulers in the spectator stands were surprised. Sacred Emperor, I never thought that there would be such a peerless genius hidden within the imperial family. Truly admirable. A ruler spoke. Xie Qitian's eyes were filled with surprise. To think that there was such a prodigy in the law enforcement army, and he hadn't noticed it before. As for 8th Prince Xiezhen, his eyes were filled with disbelief. Never in his wildest dreams had he imagined that this Ming Lu, the lowly ant he had demoted to the law enforcement army, was actually so terrifying. If this person had wanted to kill him before, he would have died long ago. In the crowd, Shi Zheng and Shi Fang, whose cultivation had been crippled, were pale and bloodless. The eruption of Lu Ming's cultivation had also shocked the other prodigies on the platform. Yang Potian, Tuoba Shur, Underworld Child, and the other prodigies who were fighting felt Lu Ming's powerful aura, and a trace of seriousness appeared in their eyes. As for Lion Do himself, he was even more shocked. 3rd level of the spirit god realm? How is this possible? Lion Do roared. Lion Do, I heard that you're ranked 5th among the 5 giants of the central continent. Although you're a little weak, your appearance is not bad, similar to my little gold. I'll reluctantly take you as my mount. Lu Ming stepped forward with a wild aura. The little gold he was talking about was King Kong, the golden tiger that Lu Ming had taken down in the Battle of Providence. Everyone was shocked. This awesome commander actually wanted to take Lion Do as his mount. This was simply wishful thinking, arrogant, and ignorant. You're courting death. Don't think that I can't do anything to you just because your cultivation has reached the 3rd level of the spirit god realm. Lion Do was furious, and his lungs were about to explode. Lion Do was destined to become an emperor in the future, but this bearded man actually wanted to take him as his mount. He deserved to die. So what if he was at the 3rd level of the spirit god realm? It was common for Lion Do to fight above his level. The sun god lion's blood boiled, and Lion Do seemed to have completely turned into a golden sun that suppressed Lu Ming. Boom! The true essence of the 3rd level of the spirit god realm in his body boiled and surged like a tsunami. He activated the heaven-suppressing hell skill, coupled with the intent realm and dragon power, and blasted towards the golden sun. An earth-shattering explosion sounded, and everyone was shocked to find that the golden sun was sent flying. On the other hand, Lu Ming's body only swayed a little. Kill. Then, Lu Ming shouted and rushed towards Lion Do, launching a storm of attacks. Lion Do let out a long roar. The lion's roar shook the heavens, causing the space to ripple like water. Sanguinarum also knew the sound wave technique, but he was not even worthy of carrying Lion Do's shoes. Lu Ming punched with both fists, breaking Lion Do's sound wave technique, and the fist energy landed heavily on Lion Do's body. Dong! Dong! Lion Do's body was as hard as diamond and exuded a terrifying heat, but he still howled in pain under Lu Ming's fists. Everyone gasped. Lion Do was at a disadvantage. I forgot to tell you that I have never lost in a battle of the same level, not to mention that you are one level lower than me. Lu Ming's voice was full of confidence. On the other side of the platform, Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling's eyes were shining. Why do I feel that his aura is very familiar? Sandalwood Fairy mumbled. I also feel that it is very familiar. There is an invincible confidence that is very similar to Lu Shaoqing's. Jing Kongling also said. Lu Shaoqing seems to be very good at disguising himself. Could this person be Lu Shaoqing? Sandalwood Fairy seemed to have thought of something as she covered her mouth and whispered. Jing Kongling didn't say anything, but watched the battle carefully. Endless sun. The lion was suppressed by Lu Ming and it felt extremely aggrieved. It roared crazily, revealing its terrifying abilities to the fullest. Lion Do was indeed very strong. He had 90% of the Sun Lion's bloodline, which was comparable to a human martial artist who had awakened a level 9 divine bloodline. His combat strength was extremely terrifying. Killing opponents who were a few levels above him was as easy as eating and drinking. If it was an ordinary second-level spirit god martial artist or demonic beast, Lu Ming could kill him with one slap. But now, Lu Ming had unleashed the true essence of a third-level spirit god, 7 dragon powers, and wills. He could only gain the upper hand. It would take some effort to defeat Lion Do. Lu Ming was amazed. Lion Do was already so powerful with 90% of a divine beast's bloodline. How terrifying would it be if there was a pureblood divine beast? A 90% bloodline was fundamentally different from a pureblood divine beast. The gap was huge. According to ancient legends, pureblood divine beasts had once appeared in the divine wilderness continent. Born divine beasts were invincible once they were born. Among their peers, no one could defeat them. Even a peerless genius who had awakened a level 9 divine bloodline was still far from being a match for them and would be suppressed. It was said that a pureblood divine beast could reach the Emperor realm with just a little bit of cultivation. Its talent was too strong. Chapter 11:27. What are you shouting for? Fight. Lu Ming raised his fists and kept punching at Lion Do. Lion Do roared and used all his skills, but it was useless. He was defeated by Lu Ming's fists, which landed heavily on his body. Lion Do's huge body trembled like a drum. Its soft golden fur was beaten into a mess. In the end, it broke off and danced on the platform, causing the platform to be covered in golden light. I can't waste it. Lu Ming waved his sleeve and kept the golden fur that fell from Lion Do's body. It was an extraordinary treasure. If it was woven into a robe, it would have a strong defensive ability that was impenetrable by water and fire. Some people in the crowd were envious. Such golden fur was a rare treasure. Roar. Lion Do roared in shame and anger. He wanted to bite Lu Ming to death. Unfortunately, he couldn't do it and was beaten back by Lu Ming. In the end, Lu Ming rode on Lion Do's body and punched him. Lion Do roared and howled in grief. He even rolled on the ground, but it was useless. He couldn't get rid of Lu Ming. Every punch of Lu Ming's was extremely powerful. It suppressed everything and kept hitting Lion Do's body. Lion Do felt that his bones were about to break and blood kept flowing out of his mouth. Demonic beasts had extremely strong bodies, especially those with 90% divine beast bloodline like him. His body was even stronger. However, he couldn't withstand Lu Ming's iron fists. Bang! In the end, Lion Do lay on the ground heavily and gasped for breath. Lion Do was defeated. That was the thought that flashed through everyone's mind. Before this battle, no one would have thought that Lion Do would be defeated by the strange commander of the law enforcement army. It was like a fantasy story. However, that was the truth. Although Lion Do was ranked last among the 5 giants of the central continent, no one dared to underestimate his strength. Those second-class geniuses could only be crushed by Lion Do. However, he was no match for the commander of the law enforcement army. How about it? Are you convinced now? Be my mount. Lu Ming stood on top of Leo and looked down at him. Roar! Lion Do roared madly, leaped into the sky, and rushed out of the platform. Even if he lost, he would drag Lu Ming down with him. Forget it, I'll let you off this time. Lu Ming's body moved and flew backward. He kicked Lion Do's butt and sent him flying far away, landing outside the platform. Lion City was defeated. Lion Do let out a long roar as if he wanted to vent the depression in his heart. After roaring a dozen times, he transformed back into his human form and went to the seat of the Lion Tiger Hall. His face was extremely gloomy. He actually failed to enter the top 10 and was eliminated. It was mainly because he had to deal with Lu Ming, which led to his early elimination. At this moment, there were only 12 people left on the platform. Kong Lin continued to chase after the Monarch God, but the Monarch God used the space concept and avoided Kong Lin's attacks with all his might. With the Monarch God's cultivation and the space concept's profundity, Kong Lin still couldn't catch up to the Monarch God even though he was fast. Whoosh! At this moment, Kong Lin stopped and did not continue to pursue the Emperor God. Instead, he looked at Lu Ming with a grave expression. It was completely out of his expectations that Lion Do didn't defeat Lu Ming, but was defeated by Lu Ming. At this moment, the situation was in a stalemate again. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling teamed up and stood on the side of the platform. Long Chen had been standing there since the start of the battle. Kong Lin couldn't catch up to the Monarch God and was wary of Lu Ming. He was also Sandalwood Fairy's admirer, so he naturally wouldn't attack Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling. As for the Monarch God, he obviously planned to use the advantage of the space concept to delay as much as possible until the others were defeated and enter the top 10. Therefore, he wouldn't attack first. Yang Potian and Tuoba Sha were still fighting fiercely. The battle between Western Desert and Southern Ming was even more intense. At this point in the battle, the difference in strength had been revealed. Unscrupulous Monk was fighting a youth covered in black flames. At this moment, the youth in black flames had transformed into his true form, which turned out to be a demonic beast. He looked almost the same as the legendary Cerberus. The youth in black flames had 90% of the Cerberus bloodline and was extremely powerful. Each of the 3 heads could launch a different attack. Black flames filled the air, but there wasn't the slightest bit of heat. Instead, it gave people a feeling of extreme coldness. It was as if this flame could freeze one's soul. This was the Hell Flame. The Cerberus was very strong, but Unscrupulous Monk was stronger. Unscrupulous Monk looked solemn and dignified. His body was covered in golden light, and a golden Buddha floated above his head. Rings of Buddha's light were emitted, suppressing the Cerberus. The Cerberus was completely suppressed by the golden Buddha's light, and it was in a very difficult situation. On the other side, the battle between the underworld child and the female bodhisattva was also very intense. However, the underworld child was indeed very powerful. He was called the underworld child and was the strongest person in Southern Ming's generation. He was even stronger than the Cerberus. His underworld chi filled the sky and suppressed the female bodhisattva. However, the Buddhist sect's martial skills were very mysterious and had both offense and defense. The female bodhisattva used the bloodline fusion technique and turned into a real female Buddha. Buddha's light filled the air and formed a Buddha's wall. Although she was at a disadvantage, she was still able to withstand the attacks. So strong. Each of them is stronger than Lion City, and they are all in the 3rd level spirit god realm. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the battlefield and he saw through everyone's cultivation base. The Western Desert and Southern Ming's four great geniuses were the same as Yang Potian and Tuoba Shi. They were all in the third-level spirit god realm, and their battle strength was above Lion City's. Stinky dog, lose for me. Unscrupulous monk became more and more courageous as the battle went on. His battle strength was unfathomable, and he completely suppressed the Cerberus. The Cerberus tried his best to resist, and at the same time, he scanned the battlefield with his spiritual consciousness. This can't go on. There are still 12 people on the battlefield. If this continues, I will be defeated by this bald donkey, and I won't even be able to enter the top 10. Those two women are weak, so I have to deal with them first. Even if I am defeated, I can still enter the top 10. The Cerberus thought quickly and made up his mind. Then, he used all his strength to block the attack of the heartless monk. His body flashed and turned into a ray of black light, rushing toward Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling. He was as fast as lightning and arrived in front of them in an instant. Stop! Sandalwood Fairy reacted quickly. She stepped lightly on the ground and dense inscriptions appeared on the ground, forming a few arrays. A few shields appeared in front of her. At the same time, Jing Kongling also moved. Rivers appeared and ancient trees grew in the rivers. They stretched out their branches and blocked in front of them. Boom! Boom! There was a violent explosion. The underworld flames spread and burned the shields, rivers, and ancient trees. However, after this block, Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling's follow-up attacks burst out. Chapter 1128. The two peerless beauties cooperated well, which made people's eyes light up. There was no doubt that Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling were the best of the second-class geniuses. However, their opponents were the overlords of their respective factions. Explosions rang out, and energy blasts shot out. Their attacks were all defeated by the Cerberus attacks. Get down! The three-headed hellhound roared and clawed at them, which made Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling pale. Are we going to fail? The two of them thought to themselves, feeling a little unwilling in their hearts. There were still 12 contestants left. If they could hold on a little longer, they might be able to enter the top 10. Unfortunately, they could only go this far. They sighed and decided to withdraw from the platform and admit defeat. At this moment, a burly figure suddenly appeared in front of them. He punched out and collided with the claws of the Cerberus, blocking its claw. It's him. Their eyes lit up. It was Lu Ming who stood in front of them. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling had helped him in the ancient herb garden and prevented him from falling into Coldblood Hall's trap. Now that he saw them in danger, he naturally would not sit back and do nothing. It's you who wants to save the damsel in distress. Then I'll send you down. The three-headed hellhound roared, and the terrible hell flame broke out. Lu Ming's spiritual spirit trembled slightly, as if his soul was about to be frozen. What a powerful hell flame! Lu Ming exclaimed in his heart, but he laughed out loud. Haha, you're more powerful than that lion. I wanted to take him as my mount, but he wouldn't agree. Although you're a little ugly, you're good enough to be my mount. While laughing, his genuine vitality burst out and he punched a few times. In an instant, he exchanged several blows with the three-headed hellhound. Big Beard, why are you stealing my prey? Monk Wuliang appeared not far away and said with a smile. Monk, I'll take care of your prey for you. Lu Ming said. Haha, that's great. Saves me the trouble. Unscrupulous monk chuckled. He turned his gaze and stared at Underworld Child. Sister Moonless, how about I help you? Monk Wuliang came to the place where Underworld Child and the female Bodhisattva were fighting. The female Bodhisattva's name was Moonless. Underworld Child looked at Monk Wuliang with some fear. Wuliang, do what you should do. I don't need your help. Moonless' face was cold. She seemed to have a bad relationship with Monk Wuliang. Not far away, Lu Ming almost tripped and fell. This unscrupulous monk's name was Unscrupulous. It was two apartment I have hair, the falling flowers are in love, but the flowing water is heartless. Sister Moonless doesn't want my help, so forget it. Unscrupulous monk mumbled. Then, his eyes darted around as he scanned his surroundings. The onlookers were speechless. Was this really a Western desert holy monk? Why was he so? Even some rulers on the spectator stands had strange looks on their faces. Elens, with Buddha SS, with the hell monks was hell. Boom. At this moment, Lu Ming and the Cerberus were already fighting. It was an intense battle. The Cerberus was very strong. It had reached the 3rd level of the spirit god realm and its combat strength was stronger than lions. At this moment, the Cerberus divine beast bloodline was boiling. Lu Ming didn't activate his bloodline and was at a disadvantage. It seems like it's impossible to get 3rd place without activating my bloodline today. With that thought, a drop of blood appeared on top of Lu Ming's head. Borrow power, whoosh. A wisp of power from the 3rd bloodline surged into Lu Ming's body. Lu Ming's aura skyrocketed. His hair instantly turned blood red and his body emitted a blood red light. Kill. As the power of the 3rd bloodline surged into his body, Lu Ming's body emitted a terrifying killing intent. He struck out with his palm towards one of the Cerberus's heads. The 3-headed hellhound's head spewed out a terrifying attack, but it was defeated by Lu Ming's palm. His palm landed heavily on one of the 3-headed hellhound's heads. With a loud bang, the 3-headed hellhound screamed miserably and its body retreated rapidly. That head was almost smashed by Lu Ming. Its frontal bone caved in and blood flowed profusely. Lu Shaoqing. His Lu Shaoqing. At this moment, a few shocked cries came from the crowd. Sanguinarum, Wu Chengkong, and a few others who had seen Lu Ming in the Saint Mansion's secret realm exclaimed in disbelief. What? His Lu Shaoqing? Ming Lu is Lu Shaoqing? This awesome commander is Lu Shaoqing? Cries of surprise rang out. By now, Lu Shaoqing's name had spread far and wide. In the World Academy's Saint Mansion's secret realm, Lu Shaoqing had killed the top geniuses of the previous generation of Cold Blood Hall and Sky Martial Sword Sect. He had also fought with young Potian and the others. Everyone had long regarded Lu Shaoqing as a magnet. They had thought that Lu Shaoqing had not come to Saint City. Could this awesome commander with a beard be Lu Shaoqing? His Lu Shaoqing. I can't be wrong about this cultivation technique. Wu Chengkong and Sanguinarum spoke with certainty. His really Lu Shaoqing. Sandalwood Fairy and Jing Kongling's eyes flickered as they whispered. Ha ha ha, this stupid beard, it's so uncomfortable to have it stuck to my face. At this moment, Lu Ming laughed. He grabbed the fake beard off his face and threw it away. This was equivalent to admitting that he was Lu Shaoqing. Everyone was shocked. Ming Lu was indeed Lu Shaoqing. But how did he sneak into the law enforcement army? What a brilliant technique to change one's aura. Even we were fooled, one of the sovereigns said. Just now, none of the sovereigns on the scene noticed this. Roar, roar, roar. The Cerberus roared. Its 3 heads opened their mouths and launched terrifying attacks. One of the heads spewed out black liquid, one head spewed out black flames, and one head spewed out black lightning. Each attack was extremely terrifying and could kill a 2nd-grade prodigy. Lu Ming clenched his fist in the air. His 3rd bloodline wriggled and changed into a blood-red spear. Lu Ming held it in his hand. Lu Ming performed the 5 slaughter styles and swung his spear 3 times in a row. Boom, boom, boom. The 3 blood-red spear shadows shattered the void and defeated the Cerberus attack. Then, the spear turned into a blood-red lightning, piercing through layers of space and piercing toward one of the heads. That head was the one that Lu Ming had injured previously. Poof! The spear pierced through the sunken area and pierced through the Cerberus head. Roar! Roar! The other 2 heads of the Cerberus roared crazily and launched terrifying attacks at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's left palm struck out continuously. He activated the heaven-suppressing hell skill and collided with the Cerberus attack. You're tuning in to the Celestial War YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.